Yeah, so as far as like because that guy had said something about like, or no, you had said something about it's scary to like say that a woman's value goes down if like because if she gets raped or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like that, I mean, yeah, like that sucks. That's one of the reasons we look down on rapists. I mean, that doesn't just mean like you just take you can't just say her value doesn't go down because someone took it from her. Like it sucks, but it's just the truth.
No, but that's the problem is this notion that women lose value if they've been raped. Like that's not true because you're arbitrarily applying the value to her sexuality, which is the problem. There's more to human beings' value than their sexuality.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's what, but
obviously. Like,
so what I'm saying is that's why it's bad. You're demonstrating why this is a problem. Is that you're saying, well, that is the value, but we just look down on the rapists because they took some of her value away. Like that. Do you think telling somebody who's been raped that they're like less valuable now because of that, their value has been decreased, is like a healthy
I mean,
notion? Like this is pathetic.
it sucks to say it, but I don't know what to tell you.
So do you recognize the difference between a descriptive and a prescriptive, right? Like saying, hey, this is how things are right now is descriptive, but then just saying because things are this way, that's how things should be. That's the problem.
Well, in a sense, you're kind of telling men to go against their biology, in a sense.
Go against their
You know what?
biology by not
No, because
raping people.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying because you know how
It
like
sounds like that's
you
what you're
would,
saying, so you should really clarify quickly.
yeah, I was about to. Fuck, sorry, I'm doing so much here right now. So, what was the last thing you said?
You said you're asking men to deny their biology, and I said it sounds like
Oh
you're
yeah, yeah,
saying they're
yeah.
denying their biology to rape, but you said you don't mean that. So what is it? What do you mean?
Because you would agree that as a man, you would want a woman with the lowest body count you can get, right? Generally,
Um, I guess
you
so.
you
Yeah,
know
probably
it's
because
true. I don't know
you
why you're
want
trying
less
to.
of it. Well, no, probably because you want less of an emotional like risk of emotional baggage, I guess. But like that
I
could
mean,
also exist even if they've had a lot of partners and not a lot of sex.
you just no, you. It's really just. Yeah, that plays a part in it too, obviously.
Yeah, so what if she
But
had like 15 prior partners, but they were all like online, where all they did was like talk sexually over the phone? Then I wouldn't really care. Or
yeah, that's still
But what I'm saying is, or I might not care because it's not sex, but that could still carry with it a lot of baggage. So it's not really the sex that's as important as the emotional baggage or risk of it.
well. As much as it sucks to say, I know I've said that a few times, but you do generally speaking, men do want a woman that's had less men inside of her. It's kind of hard, but it really is the truth.
So, but
So
what does this mean with asking men to deny their biology? What does this mean with making women? What does this have to do with
you're just
making
saying
it based that women's value is somehow on their sexuality?
no, because you were saying pretty much that we should just like forget if a girl gets raped, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want me to say like I'm not saying she's a piece of shit. She's less of a person. Um, I'm just saying like you know it's kind of like the more people that she's been with, the less attractive she is, in my opinion.
Don't you
That's
think that's
my
a little bit
opinion.
of a problem that because we socially do that for the most part. Like there's no real physical difference for a girl who's a virgin who's not. Nothing like physically changes really. At least if you're talking
Yeah,
about like like their vagina or something.
I know it's just a turn off, honestly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. Just like right now, it's for some women, it's a turnoff to see men cry because it's a bad social expectation we have that men, in order to be tough masculine men, shouldn't cry. But it's social. So if
Yeah,
we change that expectation, women wouldn't be as turned off by that, hypothetically. Most women actually don't seem to be bothered by it. But we
right.
have
Yeah,
decided to place so much value on the sexuality thing.
it's because it's just natural. It's not like we're like, oh yeah, let's just say this. Like, no, it's just a natural feeling that we get.
Men having
That's what
testosterone
I
being
was.
natural. Hold on, wait. Men having testosterone being naturally more horny or whatever is fine. That's true. That's a result of testosterone. That doesn't translate to anything else you're saying, though. That just if men are more horny doesn't mean that men therefore are biologically set to find a woman with multiple partners. A instant turn off. Like there's no That doesn't really make sense.
All right. Well, I don't know. I think you really do agree with me deep down, to be honest.
No, I kind of
I
do.
know I
I
know that
do.
seems
No,
like
no, no.
a
Wait, wait,
cop
wait,
out,
wait.
but
Please. I do kind of agree with you. Like, I do think that if I were still dating or whatever, that I would want somebody who had previously less partners. But I think about it more and I realize that it's pretty irrational actually for me to feel that way because it doesn't really make sense. And a lot of it is just socialized. So then when the logic side of me wins, intuitively, I know what you mean. I don't want to know that my partner's been with other people, but she doesn't want to know about me being with other people. Generally, yeah, I would probably want somebody who's been with less people rather than more, but that's the intuitive feel. When I logically consider this, it doesn't hold up. So I ignore the feel part. That's what it means to put facts over feelings.
right. But you don't think that men care about it more than women?
No, I do think men care about it more than women. We're arguing about why men care about it more than women. And you're saying it's
All right.
because of their biology, and I'm saying it's largely because of it's socialized.
Mm, I don't think it was socialized. I think it's just how men have naturally felt since the beginning of time. I don't think that's like I don't know, man.
I don't
I
know
don't
what
know.
to tell you. I mean, I think that there might be some kind of a maybe if you want to make an appeal to nature about the fact that women could historically get pregnant, so it made more sense to condemn women for sleeping around or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't
but
know.
again, none of that
I kind of
translates to anything nowadays, and also doesn't make any sense as far as saying that some woman has lost value because she's been raped. Like that's fucking terrible. That's the one of the
I
worst
know
things you
it
could say.
sounds
And
bad.
that's the problem with placing all of a person's value on their sexuality.
It's not. You're not placing all of their value on it.
You're saying their value has decreased.
Yeah, when I say that, because we already agreed. We literally agreed on it that men want women with less sexual partners.
Wait, less sexual partners in a case like that? I thought we were talking about like they've consensually been with a couple people. I'm not going to be like, well, you've
Well,
actually
that
been with 7 guys because the seventh dude raped you that time.
I
No, in
wouldn't say
that
that
case, there was,
neither.
again, the risk of emotional baggage, which would be much more associated with like a relationship. Somebody who's been raped is going to have trauma and what I would classify as something probably a little bit more intense than like quote unquote emotional baggage. So no, again, it's like when you talk about like previous partners and stuff, it's partially too that you're like they've been intimate with more people, they've had connections with previous people. Like a rapist does not count as a partner.
It doesn't count as a partner, but it's someone that's been inside of them. And I know
Yes,
that
but
sounds bad.
it sounds bad because, well, it's true what you're saying, but the reason it's bad is because it's followed by, yeah, but because someone's been inside of her, that means her value's decreased, which is just bullshit. It's
Like,
arbitrary. There's no, like, I would love to know a reason why we should put value there. What's the reason why besides, well, we've always done it this way, herder? What's like a real
like,
fucking reason why?
put it this way. Like, obviously, I'm not shaming. Like, obviously, I'm not shaming people that have been raped. That would be retarded. If I was talking to a woman, right, and she said, and I found out that she got raped, and I was talking to a different woman and she's a virgin, I'm gonna want to be with the girl that's a virgin. Like, naturally, I feel like most men would.
But
I'd say the
do you
biggest
think that could
majority.
have anything to do with more of the emotional stuff? Like, you could make an argument, I guess. I still think it's pretty fucked up. I think that you're taking the like she's damaged goods kind of approach. Um, but I mean, in a case like that, maybe the argument would be that a person who's been raped or abused is going to have far more trauma and emotional, not emotional baggage. I don't want to call it that. I just said they might have more stuff to deal with, and that might just not be something that I'm able to handle or accommodate. But then, like, what if we flipped it, right? What if we had a person who had been raped, but they were completely trauma free? It happened a while, like a long time ago. They generally have gone through therapy. They're doing a lot better. Don't really have a lot of like baggage or issues with it currently. And then you have someone who's a virgin, but the reason she's a virgin is because her parents kept her locked up in the basement cellar her entire upbringing. Like she's gonna have way more emotional shit she's working through as opposed to the person who
Yeah,
is so like don't you think they're in a case like that maybe it would be a little different?
I don't know. Maybe I will grant you this that maybe it's something I have to think about, but it's just for me, it's not the emotional baggage. It's just I don't want to be with a woman that had someone with this. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've only had a. Well, I'm still in a relationship now. Like she's my first like real girlfriend, and she was a virgin. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why, because I've never like experienced anything else. But I don't know. I just couldn't like imagine being with someone that wasn't a virgin when we met. And I know, like I said, that might be something
Can
I
I
have to
ask how
work on.
old your partner was when you met her or when you fucked her? Maybe that sounded
Sorry,
weird.
what?
How old is your
No, no.
partner?
She's 20.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think, I mean, if you're with somebody who's a virgin and you like that or whatever, I'm not like shaming you really for that. But again, the issue comes when you try and claim that the value of a based on their virginity or their sexuality. That is just untrue. You might value that, and we could argue about whether or not that's like a good thing to care about to the extent. Um,
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's not just me. I think most men value that.
No, no, no. What
And I
I'm
feel like
saying that you like you're allowed to care about that, I guess, in your own relationship, sure. But this should not be like the norm. This should not be the kind of thing that we continue to partake in and uphold because it's just the way it is. It is fucking terrible that we associate sex with
well,
value, and that's the whole problem with like why people get on slut shaming, for example. For example, like it does show a lack of discretion if you're fucking everything that moves, of course, but people should be allowed to do what they wish with their bodies so long as it's consensual and not harming other people without being viewed as though they have lost value. That's the problem.
that's what I was saying earlier. I don't know if you remember when I was saying you're kind of expecting like you're kind of telling me to go against my biology. That's kind of what I meant when because you
I
had
feel
said
like you
like,
think if you're more comfortable with something that's like automatically your biology.
all right, maybe yeah, maybe I am loosely using that word, but I don't know.
Do you
All I
know
know
like
is that I
you know it's possible to feel like more comfortable with something, have like a feel like a gut feeling, and it can be like
right.
socialized in you, right?
But the reason I feel like it's in their biology, or yeah, is because, like I said, like a lot of times I know it's like I know every like most men are like that. So I mean, I don't see any other reason why it would be like that.
So you're saying most men are like that, so that therefore must be a biological thing.
Or maybe
That's
that
just, yeah, no, I don't think that's true, especially when we have men who are socialized in the way in which they are. Or even more so, let's actually take a different approach. Let's say maybe you're correct. Maybe there is like an evolutionary reason because women can get pregnant and men can't, that men find women with prior sex partners to be a little bit like less attractive for whatever reason. The
yeah.
next thing we do is okay, well, thankfully, nature doesn't dictate what we ought be an appeal to nature. Just like rape happens in nature, doesn't mean that we should just go with what's natural necessarily. So, even if we have some evolutionary slant towards this thing, treating women as though their value lies in their sexuality does harm. It hurts people who are victimized. It makes it harder to catch rapists. Maybe we shouldn't do this thing. That's the correct approach.
All right. So I was gonna ask you a question. Do you think I'm a bad person, right? If I'm talking to a woman and I actually kind of like her so far, like we're on our first date, whatever, and then she tells me that she got raped, and then that makes me like in my head. I'm not saying anything bad to her, obviously. Like I'm telling her I'm sorry that happened, whatever, whatever. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Does that make me a bad person because I don't want to be with someone that's been raped?
Does that make you a bad person? I don't. I hate hypotheticals like this because I feel like it just needs more nuance. Like, is it solely because she's been raped in the past? That's like she's otherwise perfect. It is literally the fact she's been raped that's you're done. Then yeah, I think that would be make you a bad person. It would also make you a really bad person if you were with somebody for a little while and then she opened up to you and told you she was raped and then you left her afterwards. That would make you a bad person.
Okay. I don't think I'm not like I
He
don't
also
mean
noted
any
that
disrespect by this. I
hate
don't think it's
can
gonna
also
go
be a
anywhere. So
definite
I
sign.
actually have something else to ask you about, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you asked me.
So I said no disrespect, but I don't think this is really gonna go anywhere. So can I ask you something else, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So earlier when you were debating that guy, and he said, wait, am I screaming? Am I yelling right now or no?
No, you're good. You're good. It's okay. Keep going.
All right. What's it called? You had said like you kind of just brought something up that had nothing to do with the argument and like a gotcha, and it didn't really make sense. Because the guy was saying, nobody's like out here raping fat chicks, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
And then you were like, well, actually, the reason some women are fat is because they got raped as a kid. It's just like, okay, I just didn't see what they had to do with the argument.
I mean, sure, it wasn't
Well,
as direct of a response as I gave next, which the next response was, I pulled up the study that showed how overweight women actually reported more instances of like sexual coercion, like different forms of assault can occur, obviously. But you're right that wasn't. Sorry, you're right that wasn't like a direct response. It's just interesting to like even people who are fat nowadays, it could be because they were raped. I mean, I said that, so I was being clear about what I was saying, but you're right that it wasn't as direct of a response as, it could have been. But that's why, thankfully,
yeah.
next up, I did bring up the next study, which I think was more direct.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that was really mostly all I had to talk about. But
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming on here, but I would recommend to try really hard to unlearn some of this and be a better person. Don't be a bad person, okay? Because right now, you kind of are. When you're saying shit like someone's value is in their sexuality, so a woman who's raped, her value decreases. Now, like, that's the kind of shit that is just intolerable, and it further stigmatizes victims and makes it so much harder to get over something like that, to catch rapists. It just does harm.
Well, yeah, that's why rape is a bad thing.
Rape can be a bad thing because you violated another human being against their will. You've taken advantage of somebody. It's bad because of that. Yeah, so it's bad too if you were to forcefully, I don't know, force somebody to lick your boot against their will. Like, sure, it's not tantamount to rape, I know. But I'm just saying that forcing somebody to do something against their will, especially for the sick desire of sexual pleasure combined with like this power play, that's fucked up because you're forcing somebody to do something against their will and they're an autonomous human being. I don't want to live in a society in which people are forced to do shit against their will or people are coerced. So we ought to avoid that kind of behavior.
That was actually another thing. Do you really, I mean, I'm not victim blaming either, obviously, but do you really not think, like, a girl dressing a certain way has anything to do with, that conversation earlier?
Let me just further clarify. I said it's bad because it's devaluing women. Well, it's also treating people, it is devaluing other human beings and it's neglecting their rights. So just to be clear, that's why it is so bad and can still be argued as bad without us saying, well, it's actually because her value is in her sexuality. So when she gets raped, that means her value's decreased. I can explain why it's bad without putting her value on the sexuality to that extent.
But that's what I'm saying, though. You're making it seem like I'm saying she's a horrible person. Like, that doesn't, like, I'm saying her sexual value technically has went down. I mean, as bad as that sounds. That's
okay, well, yeah, it sounds bad because it's bad.
Well, yeah. Well, the truth sounds bad sometimes. Yeah.
No, it's not the truth if it's something arbitrary. You're the oddball out here. The majority of people, at least watching, would be fine dating a girl who has previously faced sexual assault.
I was going to say if we can get a poll in the chat, but I know a lot of your fans are probably going to lie, so there's not really a point. I mean, I'm a fan of yours, too. I'm not saying they're all, like, crazy, whatever, but...
okay. Yeah. All right, you want to go ahead and wrap this up then? Because I feel like you're right. This conversation really doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and I am really concerned with your approach here with things. Oh, wait, but you brought up the dress or something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you didn't hear it?
You said, do you really think that rapists don't care about what women wear, I believe, right?
Yeah, you think, like, if a girl, and like I said, I'm not whatever, but you really don't think that has anything to do with it at all?
No, because, well, hold on. Because, one, you would see more of a pattern with women who are raped consistently wearing certain things or dressed a certain way, right? When you don't see that. We also know, based on like criminal research, sociology, etc., that rape is, of course, there's a sexual element there, but it's more so a power thing. It's having that complete power and control over another person, even against their will, that oftentimes motivates the crime of rape. So it's about seeking out people who are vulnerable and appear easier. And surprise, surprise, that's actually usually the girls that are really reserved, dressed very conservatively, staying off to themselves, keeping quiet. Those are the people who at least appear to be more vulnerable, not women who are just walking around in a more of a skimpy outfit.
Okay, what's the definition of rape? I don't know the exact definition either, but I'm asking you.
It's like sexual intercourse without your consent.
Right. So how would that have nothing to do with what the woman's wearing? That's what I don't get. Like if there's,
because
if there's
the intercourse is about having power over another human being. So the reason the sexual component is there, the reason the rapist has that sexual arousal even, is because of the possibility of having that complete control over people. This is why, so like Jeffrey Dahmer, for example, that was part of his problem, is he was only sexually attracted to other men, because he was gay, other men that he could completely dominate, to the point that if they were even alive, it like wasn't good enough for him. So it's disgusting, but it's true, which again is demonstrating that it's not the clothes. It's not, oh, she looks really hot. It's, here's a girl who's vulnerable that I can take advantage of. And then last but not least, it's also important to mention that most rape occurs by people that you already know. So no, I don't think you're going to be like, I was around my uncle and I shouldn't have been in my bikini. Like, no.
Well, I think rapists and murderers, because you brought up Jeffrey Dahmer, should both, I don't care what happens to them, the worst thing can happen to them, but there's obviously a difference between the two. Jeffrey Dahmer was literally murdering people. That's different from someone that's just going around.
No, the reason I brought up Dahmer was literally just to demonstrate that there are people who had it even more, I guess, evil, disgusting, where they wanted so much dominance that even the person being alive was not enough for them to be sexually satisfied. I'm not saying rapists are the same as Jeffrey Dahmer, okay? Try to keep up. Do you think the value of it, someone's asking in chat, if they want me to ask you, do you think the value of a man decreases if they get raped?
If they get raped?
Yeah.
At what age were they when they got raped?
An adult. They were held at knife point by a woman and raped.
I mean, in a way, I think it would, yeah.
Okay, yeah, then you just have a really bad view of rape and more of a, it's not like victim blame. Well, the dress thing is victim blaming, but your approach about like sexual value isn't necessarily victim blaming, but what it is doing is it's worsening the already worse situation by just demeaning people who've already faced one of the worst forms of humiliation and degradation someone could face. Now by saying, well, now your value's even less. Like, it's just pathetic.
Well, no, I know this might seem cringe to say, but you know the old like, oh, a woman doesn't want to be with a weak man thing, obviously. I think if you were to tell a woman that you got raped as a grown man, she's going to think like, you know, I don't know. I don't think she's going to like that very much.
Okay. Well, if she didn't, we would then want to talk about why she wouldn't like that thing very much. And I have a feeling that you would say, well, it's probably her biology, when it would be much more nuanced than that.
I probably would have, yeah.
Yeah, which is, again, just not true at all. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, no, there's clothing is just not associated with a higher risk of rape. And also, someone in chat did point out that Jeffrey Dahmer also was raping people before he started murdering people. So, like, there's definitely that's definitely like a motivator of rape is the power and the domination. So that's why when you understand the type of crime that rape is, it no longer really holds up when you think about the clothes argument.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what else to say to that.
Well, I mean, do you agree with me then? Was I able to change your mind at least?
I just think if there's someone that's either willing to rape or has and hasn't gotten, arrested for whatever, and they're out, like this kind of like a cliche or whatever, but he's like out whatever at night, and he's not even thinking about like, oh, I want to go rape someone right now. If he sees someone that's dressed up like that and it kind of gets them, horny or whatever, he may think like, I'm gonna rape her.
Yeah, no, because because again, it's you're thinking of this as a primarily sexual thing. When it's not just, I want to rape her because she's hot. It's, I want to have complete control over this person. So it's the
Well, it can be
ultimate,
both,
well,
though.
wait, hold on. It can be both. You're right. But ultimately, it's the control that they care about more. So they will literally be willing to compromise the appearance of the person for the sake of having complete control over them. So it's way more about dominance. Plus, the majority of people who are raped by people that they know. So it just, no, none of this holds up, because if it's people they already know, like, what was it, just one day they were wearing the right outfit to set, it's pathetic. And then what outfit exactly triggers rape? Should women just be walking around in burqas then to be safe? I mean, it's just, even the logical follow through of this argument is delusional.
Well, no, that's the thing, though. I'm not saying that they should dress any differently. That's why I'm saying I don't really think what I'm doing is victim blaming, because I'm not saying, oh, maybe they should have just dressed differently. They shouldn't have to do that just because, and well, in my opinion, just because someone might, it's like a higher chance of getting raped. But I just
Yeah.
think it's a higher chance of getting raped. Like, I don't know.
Okay, but it's just not. So like, you would have to demonstrate that. And thus far, the information we have doesn't seem to demonstrate that. In fact, it shows the opposite. That rape is about control. And I mean, by that logic, there's also, like, why do old people get raped? Why do kids get raped? Why do you know that kids can get raped by people who are, well, hold on, wait. You know that kids have been raped before by people who aren't pedophiles. They're not actually sexually attracted to children. They are primarily sexually attracted to the control. And because they can easily control a child, they will abuse that child. It's sick and disgusting. That's why these people are fucking evil. But it's about control at the end of the day. It's not primarily a,
no. If they rape a kid, they're a pedophile.
It's sex, but it's the sex based on the control that they care most about.
Yeah, but how can you say someone that raped that doesn't even make sense to me?
Well, that's the same thing that, like, you can get. Well, you've heard of prison rape, right? Do you think that, like, a guy can? Yeah. Do you think that a man who has a wife can go to prison and then rape another guy? Do you think that guy is now gay? Like, no, it's a dominance thing. It's a power thing.
Well, that's also because that usually only happens with people that have been in there for years and they get a little desperate, if you know what I mean. So no, I think that's a lot.
No, there's called prison rape, where you will be raped anally as a form of humiliation and dominance. It happens. It is even fucking depicted in the Bible. This is a thing. This is what happens. It's about control. So the clothing arguments makes no sense.
Are they when those prison rapes happen, that you're saying that it's not for it's not because they're attracted to whatever. Are they ejaculating when they're doing that? Because if they are, then they're gay. Okay. You don't think so?
It can be about some form of sexual gratification, but you can be not gay because you're ultimately, again, taking advantage of the control. All inmates who engage in same-sex behavior are not considered homosexual. Prison culture refines the category of homosexual into specific groups known as homosexuals, gays, queens, and straights. Prison culture has a unique rationale for same-sex behavior, the inner homosexual. A study of inmates' narratives led to this concept. The following prisoner narrative illustrates this theory. Every man is a homosexual. Every man has a sexual fantasy. What? That guy sounds like he would be it. I'm literally scrolling. I'm scrolling through this because I don't have this on hands. I'm curious, but it's just interesting that I wasn't even looking for this, and I still stumble upon a thing that's describing how even under prison culture, you don't have to technically be gay in order to rape another man. And then at least the sample blurb, it says rape is about power, control, and sexual gratification. So power and control.
All right. Well, okay. This might make me sound like I'm gay for Sneeko, but this is kind of where it gets boring for me too. When you kind of just look up, because like he said, when you debated Sneeko, you can really find statistics that can add up for whatever you want them to.
No,
So
I didn't say that, actually. I said that, no, Sneeko said that. Wait, no. Sneeko said that, and he was incorrect. Because, one, if that were true, please give me some opposing data. Two, I'm familiar with a lot of the quote-unquote alternative data, and most of it is either non-existent or total garbage. So, no, you just saying, like, there's other studies too, LOL. No, not really. And most of these decent studies that I cite have also been backed up by or are built upon prior research as well.
Can I just say that was cool that you used the LOL against me? I've heard that in so many videos. I'm honored. But yeah, like I said, I don't know. with the studies, it kind of just, for me, it just kind of, I kind of just get
Yeah,
bored.
because
Like,
it's
I don't,
I
there's nothing I
understand
can,
because it's a lot easier to just kind of stick in your fifis and not be confronted by any of the information or facts that contradict what you already believe. But at the end of the day, what a woman wears
yeah,
doesn't
but,
really have much of a contributing factor to whether or not she's abused.
okay,
And
so what if I found a
that's that.
statistic that it did?
And
What would
also,
you say?
last but
Oh,
not
that's
least, somebody
false?
who is raped has not lost any value.
Can you answer that question, though?
What was the question?
If I found a statistic that said that it could, would you just say, "Oh, those are wrong"? Like, because you can,
A
like I said, you
statistic
can
that
find a
said I could
statistic for
what?
anything.
Sorry.
That what's it called? That clothes do matter. What clothes you're wearing do matter, or just anything, any
I
take,
would want to
any
look
take
at
would
it.
do
I
it.
would want to look at the context. Maybe it was like in one area. Maybe it did matter. Maybe it had an effect in different areas. I don't know. We'd want to look at it throughout. But even if there was one study that showed it, if there's like 10 studies showing the opposite, then you can also say, well, yeah, there might be times in which maybe clothing has played a bit of a role and this study happened to capture it. But generally speaking, rape seems to be motivated primarily by control and dominance. So what a woman wears has very little relevance when she's abused. That would probably be the approach. So at the end of the day,
All right.
man, I would just recommend this, okay? Anything that you like feel comfortable in your gut, and when I say that, I don't even mean that like rudely. Like, just if it feels uncomfortable in your gut, doesn't actually mean that it's like biologically wrong, right? So like,
Well, it's not just my gut though. That's the thing.
okay,
I know I've
there's
said
a
this,
lot
but
of
like,
people who could have gut feelings of going to hell, and
yeah, but
they don't. Well,
okay,
hold on, and they're not biologically set up to be afraid of hell. But a lot of people have that consistency because it's a large thing that is socialized. So
okay,
just think
biology.
about it. That's all I'm saying, okay? Thanks for coming on, my dude. Please, work on
Well,
being a
can I
better
just say one
person.
thing real quick?
What?
Hello, hello.
What?
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
So, just be.
Bye. Okay. Oh, goddamn. This dude, man. This mofo. Wait, what was he gonna say? Don't know, don't care.